Buying a house has so many moving parts and often unexpected costs, but a home inspection is one of the most important pieces of the process to buying a home. It may cost you a few $100s now, but it could save you thousands of dollars and lots of headaches later. Now, a home inspection is a thorough examination of a house you're about to purchase. Buyers usually hire a professional inspector to go through the house and identify any areas of concern currently and what could be a concern down the road. The inspector often spends several hours in the house working, quite literally, from top to bottom. They climb up on the roof to inspect the condition and the estimated age and longevity of the roof, and then they walk through each room of the home, testing various elements throughout, and they usually finish in the basement after checking the major systems and walls for concerns. Buyers are encouraged to accompany the inspector to ask questions and see exactly what the inspector is referring to later in his report. And when the inspection is complete, the inspector provides a detailed report with photos and descriptions of their findings. Often the inspector will provide a summary of the most concerning items, and it's then up to the buyer and the coaching of their agent to decide which items they feel should be addressed by the current owner prior to closing. So what does this mean for you as a buyer? Well, you should plan to have an inspection done before buying any house. Even if it's your best friend's parents' house, you should really consider having an inspection done. There are things that even the sellers may not know about as an issue, and you're going to want to know about those just in case. Now, you do have a couple options once you receive the report. Option number 1, have your agent negotiate some repairs with the sellers. Your agent should be able to coach you through which items on the report are the most pressing and should be addressed sooner than later. Now, it's best to focus on health and safety concerns, as those are things that might be an issue to get an occupancy permit, or depending on your loan type, an issue for a loan commitment. Things like loose handrails or mold and GFCI outlets not working or open wiring, those might be a few things that might need to be addressed now so that something bad doesn't happen later on down the road. Now, if you don't like the placement of an outlet, well, that's probably just too bad, so sad. Your agent is going to have a hard time convincing the sellers to change something simply because you don't like it. Also, try to focus on things that are of immediate concern. If the inspector says that the water heater's old, but it's working, the seller isn't likely going to replace it. It goes back to that old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Option 2. Now, similar to option 1, you could also ask the sellers to make a credit for repairs for you to do them yourself. Now, let's say the deck needs to be replaced and you don't want traditional wood, you want a composite deck. Well, you could ask the sellers to give you a credit toward the deck and then put that money toward the replacement. Sometimes the less work a seller has to do is the better option for them. Remember, they're likely trying to pack up and move somewhere else too. Sometimes home buyers have family or friends in a particular business and would rather have that person perform the work. It's all up to you as the buyer how you want to approach this. Ask your agent for recommendations or on a price, or call a qualified contractor to give you a good faith estimate for the work. And these credits can be combined with repair requests too. Just be careful that your agent and your lender are communicating about how much credit is allowed for your loan type. You don't want to leave money on the table because the credits got maxed out. Then there's option 3. Now, this doesn't happen often, but it can. So option 3 would be to terminate the contract due to the inspection results. Sometimes buyers find themselves in over their head with repairs, or the seller just won't budge on things the buyer finds important. Whatever the reasoning, this is an option for you as a buyer. Check with your agent, but the contract usually states that in this case, all earnest money is to be returned to the buyer upon termination, as long as you're still within the agreed upon deadlines. Now, most sellers will want to avoid this if at all possible, so this may be a last resort. So how does one decide which items on the report to ask the sellers to fix or offer a credit? Well, I mentioned that focusing on the health and safety issues are the key to negotiation success. A seller isn't guaranteed to agree to everything, but these things are much harder to decline because the seller takes a chance of not passing occupancy or a loan being denied due to these concerns. Your agent can help guide you through what these look like, but it's best to have a list of your concerns before you talk to your agent. Another great resource would be family and friends who have purchased homes, especially recently. Asking what items they have had trouble with and what items aren't actually so scary might be helpful in narrowing down your list. The inspector will probably provide a report that's 40 plus pages long. Now that's a lot to digest. And asking a seller to fix everything probably won't go over well, and it may end up killing the deal. So asking family and friends may help calm some nerves and help you focus on what items are necessary now and which ones can wait. And while this is just one step toward buying a house, there are so many other things to consider. If you've got questions or concerns, I'd be happy to talk more and coach you through. Just send me a text, shoot me an email, or even send me some smoke signals. But let's get talking.